me a little bit about what Junxion do and what you guys do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we essentially help companies devise sustainability strategies and help them measure their social and environmental impact. We like to say there's a new economy emerging with new regulations and increasing kind of sustainability. And yeah, we help companies take that leap into this new business environment that's kind of quickly emerging.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I think, you've had B Corp since 2016, and this B Corp's become a little bit of a movement across organisations, and it does prompt a lot of debate across agencies, leaders. I see, we're doing it. Should we do it? So, what is B Corp, Charlie? Is this the only thing that there is? Is there other things out there that are similar to B Corp? Just give us a bit of a flavour of what B Corp is, and is it the only thing that's out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So essentially, it's a sustainability certification that assesses your governance, social, and environmental impact. It's around, I think there's about 200 questions in it, so it's
Wow.
quite comprehensive. And it's kind of a one of its kind in terms of its scale. I think there's about 80 different countries represented, more than 150 industries. So it's really quite rigorous, and it goes through these five different pillars, and yeah, massive sort of growing movement. I think there's 9,000 globally and 2,000 in the UK, so it's quite popular here in the UK. Um, there's nothing, there's other things agencies can definitely do, to be kind of good, ethical, or values driven, or delivering on your mission or purpose, but definitely B Corp is the only one with the kind of rigor around it. There's other kind of small ones. There's product specific ones. You've got kind of MSC for food standards. You've got FSC for kind of sustainable paper. But in terms of total wide certifications, B Corp is definitely, yeah, one of a kind.
That's the one. That's
Yeah.
the one. And you may or may not know this, Charlie. Out of those 2,000 organisations in the UK that you said have this certification at the moment, do you know what percentage are agencies or in the creative space?
Yeah, I couldn't give you a figure to be honest. I think it's probably quite a big mix. I know consumer goods are probably overrepresented in it.
Right.
It's, FMCG is extremely popular because you've got that kind of consumer facing
Yeah.
side of things. So it's always going to appeal. So yeah, probably couldn't give you the mix, but maybe after I can look at
FMC. Yeah. No, I'm just out of interest in case you knew. So,
it.
you know, I speak to agency leaders all the time, and there is this: should we do it? Shouldn't we do it? What are what are the benefits of becoming B Corp? And is there a way of, I don't know, working out, is this right for you as a business? Should you be doing it for the right reasons? So
Yeah.
what's your sort of thought around that really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think one of the main benefits we see is around talent. And it can be a really good way of engaging your current talent around your business and what you stand for, and being a kind of a good company, a force for good, as B Corp calls it. Um, and it can also be really useful for attracting new talent. We find a lot of clients, whenever they put B Corp within their, LinkedIn post, they always have their prospective candidates saying, "Oh, what's that?" Or, "Oh, I've heard about that," and, "Oh,
Yeah,
it's great to hear that, this, that, and the other." And yeah, it can be a really good way of just engaging all your current talent around B Corp, around just being a sustainable company. And yeah, more and more, I think people, especially young people, are after kind of meaningful workspaces, and so that really helps. I think the other big thing is it can be a great client attractor, essentially. More and more, more and more agencies, I think, as well now are in there as they develop their own sustainability strategies. Ethical procurement is going to be part of that. So looking for ways that other agencies are also kind of values aligned. B Corp is a really easy identifier of that, kind of having that stamp of approval that someone else has said, yep, they've got their stuff in order, essentially. So that can be really useful, and especially now, I think greenwashing is becoming harder and harder to do. Got new regulation like the Green Claims Code in the UK, and so there's some other ones in Europe as well coming out, and CSRD, which is essentially going to make saying you're a purpose-driven company, or mission-driven company, whatever your terminology is, really hard without proving it. And I think a lot of business professionals are coming a lot more savvy around asking, okay, well, what does that mean? And you can't just get away with saying it anymore. You have to kind of prove it. And I think B Corp is that rigorous standard to say like, oh, actually, we know exactly straight away. They don't even have to explain themselves. We've seen they've got that stamp. And I think sort of, yeah, the final one is probably it's just a really good way of working out how you're doing, like regardless of the business benefits, of which there are quite a lot, especially with the B Corp community. There's the Beehive, which is this for only B Corps, this whole channel you can access the whole directory full of other B Corps, and you get exclusive events just for B Corps. So in terms of networking, there's lots of stuff there. But in terms of yeah, just understanding what your social environmental impact is, it's a really good tool.
Yeah.
So
What would your advice be, Charlie, around organisations that are, we're going to do this? You said at the beginning there's 5 pillars, I believe, and there's
yeah.
about 200 questions. And I know for us starting on this journey, it's something you shouldn't take lightly. What would your advice be around that, of going, right, we're going to do this or we're not going to do it? Have you got any sort of pointers there for people?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest kind of things that people don't really know about, big top secret, here it comes, is that you can take the B Impact Assessment, which is the tool, the assessment that B Corp uses to assess companies. Any company can take that for free. So regardless of whether or not you're going to certify, definitely get stuck in, just see where you're at on the assessment. You need 80 points to certify on the current standards.
Right.
Most companies end up around 50 points, so most companies have to do something, but I really recommend just jumping in there because it's great. Regardless of if you certify or not, you can get so many pointers about how you could improve your impact.
Yep.
So that's probably one of the first things I'd recommend. You can, yeah, just see where you're currently at with your current practices, and you might be surprised. You might see some things. Oh, great, we actually didn't think that that was a good policy, but actually it quite is, and be a nice little kind of confidence ego booster at times.
Yep.
And then I think once you've got your score, once you've got baseline, you can then kind of decide where you're going to go from there. Are you gonna go for full certification? If you are, you're gonna recruit a freelancer agency to help you along that, or are you gonna try and do it in-house? Who's going to resource it on your side? And I think just a genuine kind of reflection on, are you ready to make those quite significant changes in many ways? It's not, I mean, as I'm sure you're aware, it's not an easy thing, and it doesn't take a couple of weeks, couple of months. You're looking at start to finish probably 1 to 2 years before
Yep.
you kind of fully certified, and you have to recertify every 3 years. So it's that commitment to continuous improvement. So you need to, yeah, have a big think about B Corp more generally, and how you're going to use it. Is it going to be kind of a client acquisition tool? Is it going to be a way of engaging your employees? Who's going to manage it on your end? So lots of things to sort of consider. But first things first, definitely get stuck in and just see how your agency's doing.
Okay. And you can just find that online, Charlie. That link. Okay. Well, we'll
Yeah.
we'll find that and send it out to everyone who's registered, so they can all have a Friday afternoon when they're maybe not got so much work on, and go, right. Let's see where we are. I think when we did ours, we were around that 50-55,
Yeah.
and then we're then looking at all the different areas and, okay, well, what are the areas that are important to us as well? What should we be working on? And with the 5 pillars, Charlie, in these 200 questions, to get that 80 points, is that 80 points, could you be amazing in one area and not so good in another? Is it spread out across those that you have to uh, be assessed in a positive way in each of those pillars? How does that actually work in reality?
Yeah, so at the moment, the current standards is it's 80 points, however you want to get them. So
Right.
as you said, yeah, you could, and that's one of the criticisms, is that, potentially it's a bit too flexible. You could really smash your employer policy and environment, but maybe your customers, you haven't got some great policies around that. And that is going to change the new standards, which are coming into effect in 2026.
Right.
That's going to be a minimum, on each of the pillars, and they're introducing some new pillars. You're going to have to meet, yeah, you're going to have to meet minimums for those, so you can't get away with just having lots of points on one score. So yeah, it's going to be harder essentially.
It'll be harder to get. And
Yeah.
if you've already got it now, does that mean you don't have to do you don't have to do that. You sort of home and dry, or when you reassess, will your reassessment be on the new policies? How does that actually work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So when you reassess, it will. I think it's for companies that have certified after, yeah, after 2025, mid 2025, you'll have to recertify the next 3 years on the new standards. So it's going to be a whole lot of new learning because it's yeah, it's slightly different way of doing things, and they're introducing new questions. And they spent about I think they spent about 2 years collecting feedback from the community about the standards, what needs to change, what needs to get harder, what's not working, maybe small businesses, what things need to change for them to make it easier because big businesses have
Yeah,
more resources for this kind of thing. So yeah, it's been a big project undertaking, but I think it'll be all the better for it.
all the better for. So if you've got that certification and you're coming up to recertify after 2026,
Mhm.
the year before, you probably need to look at all the new policies in the new pillars and what you need to be
Yeah.
doing. Do you have a grace period where they say, well, you were certified, you're not getting it again, but you've got like a 3 month, 6 month to just sort these things out, and then we will recertify you? Does it work like that, or is it literally like, no, you've not got it, and you're back to the drawing board?
Yeah, so they've kind of left, they've kind of made the 2 recent years as the kind of grace period where they've kind of announced these new standards of roughly what they're going to be. So now it's a chance for people to get acquainted with them. But people have basically got up to 2026 to if you're new certifying. So if you've certified already before, I think it's 2020, I think it's 2023 actually, mid last year, when you recertify in the your next 2 years, you're going to have to start thinking about the new standards. But if you're completely new to it, you've got until 2026 on the old standards. And
Right.
then so say you certify in 2026, you've got 3 more years on on those current standards till you get the new ones. Yeah.
Right. So, I think you've used the word there, that rigor. I think it is the rigor that makes the B Corp worth getting. It's not easy to get, so when you do get it, it is worth getting. We've spoke around the reasons for doing it, and I think the talent acquisition is key. I think more and more people are wanting to work for and be associated with, employed by organisations that are sustainable, that have got good governance around that. So I think that is key. I think there are more and more organisations that are getting B Corp themselves, and as a result, they need to then be working with B Corp certified suppliers in order for them to keep their B Corp. So it feels like it's a journey lots of us have got to go on, and say we're on that journey. A lot of it was driven by our team internally. They wanted to do this type of stuff, which was really good. So I think there's lots of positives you can take from it. But are there any negatives? Are there any criticisms around people who have gone to B Corp? As you've said, Charlie, it's a 2 year journey. I think you've probably got that 18 months, 2 years of getting into the position, and then you've got to put your bid in, if you like, to then get certified. So it is a long journey. Criticisms, negatives. Is it really worth doing? What are your findings around that type of stuff?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things come to mind when you hear kind of B Corp criticism. I think one of them is the fact that it's a growing movement means that it's experienced growing pains. It's as with any movement, it's about trying to make the standards rigorous enough that they mean something, they're really meaningful, but not so rigorous that no one can actually get them.
Yeah,
And I think they're having bit of a moment at the moment with bigger companies certifying and get a few comments say, oh, well, how come, this sort of bigger company is certified and shouldn't it just be, the ultra kind of small ethical companies? And um, I think, yeah, the B Corp stance on that is that you can if you get the bigger companies in you can achieve some really massive impact. And
yeah,
so I think they're just navigating that balance between making the standards kind of attractive enough to the bigger companies but also ensuring they're rigorous because we don't want the last thing they want is it to be seen as greenwashing and oh that's an easy thing, which it definitely isn't. And I would say to anyone who thinks it's easy, definitely just have a look at some of the questions. And it's not. I think one of the other things, which again is the same for a lot of labels, which despite being around for, I don't know, dozens of years, things like fair trade, people still don't really know what it means, and organic. And I think B Corp has still got work to do there, as with any of those labels, making sure that there's that customer awareness around what it actually means, what it stands for. And I think UK is, I was looking up the stats the other day, it's around 40% of, they did the survey, 40% of people in the UK know what it is and roughly, what it requires to get certified. I think again, highest in the younger segments. They know a lot more about it, and across the world, slightly less awareness, but they need to keep building that to build the value of the B Corp brand. If people don't really understand it, it's not going to be as valuable. So, yeah, I think those are the sort of the criticisms about it, but I would say it's definitely worth it. Regardless of whether you certify or not, definitely just get stuck into the B impact assessment. Think, as you said, that employee piece is a really big one, and that, yeah, team boosting, motivation, like even all of the B Corp events that go on. There's a B Corp festival in September, which is going to be, I think, their largest gathering yet, and it's only B Corps that can go, and huge amount.
Whereabouts is it, Charlie? Is it in a nice exotic location?
It's in Oxford, so
Oh,
yeah,
very exotic
not
then.
too far. Yeah, 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 yeah. Easy commute from London if you're there. So yeah, I think, and just I think that's another piece of advice for if you are going to chase certification, is to kind of share the work around the team. It's good to have one person obviously in charge who's managing the process, but it's a lot of work. So sharing the pie, as it were, is just it's just better really for the company, but it also helps people get engaged with B Corp and understand what it is. And interesting, they're asking us these sorts of policies and practices. Oh, that's quite interesting, and it just helps that kind of employer buy-in, and yeah, creating that kind of internal culture around impact, both social and environmental. Yeah.
I think we're feeling some of that. We've got somebody here that's project managing it, but has obviously got to reach out to different areas of the business. So right, we need support on getting this through. On that, Charlie, what is your recommendation? Is it to get a consultant in that's gone through this rather than try to do it yourself? If you do that, do you get through the assessment much quicker? What's your thoughts around that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, probably there's a bit of bias there because that's one of
I
our
know, I
things
know.
we help out with. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely try it on your own, and if you get the resources to do it, I think people do underestimate how much time it does take, and it does just take a lot of time. So if you're kind of prepared to invest both the time and the opportunity cost of having your own staff doing it, that's fine. But it can be just really useful to just have that external partner who, yeah, knows the assessment inside out, can straight away by what kind of business you are, what kind of size, what sector, all that kind of stuff, understand the sort of journey you're going to go on and be like, okay, there might be a few hiccups here. Let's like focus on this, or and just really understanding what B Lab are afterwards,
Yeah,
So we would say it helps, whether it's us or a different agency or consultancy. We would say, it's not an easy thing to do on your own. So it does just help having that external partner to both help you certify as B Corp. We'd say it definitely is quicker just having someone else, but also just embed B Corp thinking in your business. We like to say it's not, the certification isn't the end, it's the start.
yeah,
And you know, by navigating assessment, you can really understand what your business is about and what your vision and mission are, and actually putting that to actions, and just understanding how you can, yeah, use all of the B Corp philosophy to kind of transform your business into something that I think a lot of companies, yeah, they don't know just how much transformation they can kind of achieve by going through this kind of journey, which has a lot of host of benefits
yeah.
afterwards.
That's brilliant, Charlie. I think we're on that. We're definitely on that journey now. Quick question, Charlie. From when you submit your application, what sort of time frame is it taking at the moment for B Corp to go through your assessment and certify you? What sort of time frame is that at the moment?
It's about 6 months, I think,
Right.
is the rough, yeah, rough call to do it. So yeah, depending on your company, I think the whole start to full certification kind of finish, yeah, it's probably up to about 2 years, depending on how many, and it depends on the complexity of your business. I think if on this call it's mostly agencies, hopefully not too much complexity. But as soon as you're dealing with large kind of MNCs, there's just all this complexity with different countries, and there's different assessments you have to take, and all these different documents because different countries obviously have different employment laws. So there's a lot of nuance around all of that stuff. So, but as an agency, it shouldn't be as much complexity.
Charlie, can you believe it's 5 to 10 or a minute off 5 to 10? That
That's
that
great.
went so quick, and I really enjoyed that. We always ask Charlie before our guest speakers go, is there one quick takeaway you could give to all our agencies on this? What's the one bit of advice you'd give to them from our talk today, Charlie?
Yeah, sure. It's probably, which I feel like I've banged a couple of times now, but I'll bang it again. Is yeah, just get stuck in with the B impact assessment, regardless of not if you certify. It's got a whole host of good ideas there that you can take forward for free. It's like having your own consultant basically. So get stuck in there, and then if you do decide to certify, give us a call.